This is
Two sides of the debate tonight. With me in the studio is Rahul Narvekar of the Shiv Sena. Thank you very much, Rahul. Mahesh Jetpalani of the BJP joins us live from Delhi. Maheshinder Singh Grewal, advisor to Prakash Singh Badal, represents the Shiromani Akali Dal point of view, and they have been critical of this judgment. Aslam Ghoni will be joining us in some time, is former Advocate General of Jammu and Kashmir, representing the human rights point of view. He's there, right there on your screen. Sudha Ramalingam, Advocate and Vice President of PUCL, Professor Hargopal, visiting faculty of the Bangalore National Law School. Monica Tagore represents the Congress Party on this panel. And my first question this evening on the Newshour is to KTS Tulsi. KTS Tulsi has been the lawyer who has represented Bhullar in court. And this case has now been lost. Now, Mr. Tulsi, I found it surprising that Mr. Bhullar's family says this decision is influenced by politics. People would say the delay has been influenced by politics. Had there been no politics, then it wouldn't have taken all these years.
No. Well, firstly, Arnab, I want to say that I firmly believe that the judges are invariably endowed with superior wisdom in deciding the cases correctly. My own viewpoint, we lawyers argue from the standpoint of a party, whereas they see the entire picture and therefore they take a larger decision in the larger context. So I bow to the decision. But I want to say that this is the first case in the history of the Supreme Court of India after 1950, where the Supreme Court's own judgment was split verdict. The judge who presided over the hearing of the appeal, the Justice Shah, held him to be innocent. He said that there is no evidence against him that he participated in any terrorist act. They said the only evidence against him is a confession which is extorted
so
by the
all these issues I think have been dealt with.
By the police.
All this has now been dealt with, sir. My question to you is, I don't want to get into the question is, the question is, do you believe that rightly the contours of the death penalty debate and what has been seen to be the bogey of human rights activists has changed after today's judgment?
No, I think that according to my limited understanding, this judgment is at variance with several other judgments which are of a larger bench. And I wish that there would be greater uniformity, there would be greater certainty, there would be a greater predictability of law, rather than deciding from case to case.
Sir, I'm sorry, you are a very eminent lawyer, and I don't want to cross swords with you, but therefore I will go to Mahesh Jetpalani. I will only like to point out to you with the greatest of respect, Mr. Tulsi, that the legality and constitutionality of the death sentence in India has been challenged a number of times. And if I'm not mistaken, Mahesh Jetpalani, the Supreme Court has upheld the principle of death sentence also on multiple occasions. I want you to come in, Mahesh Jetpalani. First counter to KTS Tulsi.
Well, the Supreme Court in Bhullar's judgment today was not concerned with the question of the constitutionality of the death penalty or the merits of Mr. Bhullar's case, albeit Mr. Tulsi is right that the Supreme Court verdict which finally held him guilty was by a 2-1 judgment. But there was also a review petition filed against that in the Supreme Court, which was dismissed by the Supreme Court itself in December 2012. The fact of the matter is the Supreme Court has still left the door open for deserving cases. They've said that the fact that there's a delay in the disposal of mercy petitions is still a ground for judicial review in the Supreme Court. You can go to the Supreme Court and say that there's been inordinate delay. It is dehumanizing to dispose of delays, to dispose of mercy petitions with delays. But it's made one very important exception in paragraph 40 of the judgment. And it has said that convicts under the TADA and similar statutes cannot avail of this benefit. They can't complain of delays in the disposal of mercy petitions. They are not deserving of such empathy. So it's closed the doors for all convicts under TADA and similar statutes.
That's the point. And that's the point I'd like to go to Professor Hargopal too, that if you look at point 40 of this judgment, it makes it very clear, and I'd like to read something out to you, Mr. Hargopal, that it says that long delay may be one of the grounds for commutation of the sentence into life imprisonment, but it cannot be invoked in cases where the person is convicted for offence under TADA. Such cases stand on an altogether different plane and cannot be compared with murders committed due to personal animosity over property and personal disputes. In other words, Professor Hargopal, it says terrorism is terrorism. Don't tell a terrorist to get leniency from the system in the way the ordinary murderer does. Your response to that, Professor Hargopal, why do you oppose it?
I think along with the Supreme Court, you have also delivered the judgment. See, the point that one has to examine is that whether the death sentence in a civilized society is permissible, and what have been the standard that India has been upholding. The same Supreme Court once said in the rarest of the rare cases, and whatever Supreme Court says, it can be legal finality, that's not a moral finality. Society will always retain its final judgment, and today you people have created such a public opinion.
No, what is you people?
Constitutional morality is almost
no, who are you calling you people, Professor? Could you please elaborate on who are you people?
But I think the question is that whether death sentence in a civilized society is permissible, and what do we mean by progress of a civilization of a society. And when a society is progressing, I think on human rights standard one has to judge whether the society is progressing or not. A society going in a reverse order and all compromising with all the standards of human right and lowering the standards of human right is no comment on the advancement of a democracy. I mean, that's what we have to understand. Supreme Court, yes, I mean, it has said in its own wisdom, but that doesn't mean that this judgment will hold good for all centuries to come.
Well, I think it makes it very clear.
May revise the judgment.
It makes things very clear, Professor.
One thing you must understand is that when you carry a debate on the death sentence, it is the question of the human life. Terrorists or no terrorists, a society should be free from terrorism. And if you guarantee me that terrorism will be, over by hanging 10
that is not an argument.
But are you very sure that the terrorism
No. Professor Hargopal, you are such an eminent lawyer. You are an eminent lawyer. Professor.
Responsibility for the crime.
Professor.
You are totally holding the person responsible for crime.
Professor.
But you are not holding the society responsible.
Professor.
So you have to hold. Society should take some responsibility for crime.
Professor.
Responsibility and make the individual responsible.
We have the political class which is already handling. We have the political class which is already dealing with issues regarding to terrorism with kid gloves. Now we expect the judiciary to do the same and target our country as a very soft target for terrorism. We already have the political class doing that. Let's, for heaven's sake, let's not have the judiciary following suit and doing the same. We all understand capital punishment may not be the best form of punishment in civil society.
But is that the argument?
But at the end of the day, you need to realize that terrorism is also not a common kind of crime. It's a crime of the worst order and has to be dealt with an exceptional manner. And if you really want to have a deterrent in the society, you need to deal with it as firmly as possible. And capital punishment definitely is the only source.
Professor,
you have to understand the genesis from where the whole concept of this capital punishment came over. The concept behind it is to give closure to the aggrieved and their relatives, and number two is to give a deterrent in the society so that people don't repeat these kind of heinous crimes. Now, if you take this very deterrent factor out, how are you going to have a civilized society? So let's send a message across to all those who indulge in terrorism. This will not be tolerated, and you will have to go to the gallows if you kill others.
You see, this actually, I feel, I'm sorry to say this, Professor, I have tremendous regard for you, and you are not just, an activist, but you're also an academic in law. But I'm surprised that despite your eminent qualifications, Professor, that your argument is weak in law, because the counter to the argument which you're putting that death is not a deterrence, you are fully aware, Professor Hargopal, that the Supreme Court has in the past taken this into a consideration too and held that it is not a strong enough argument to abolish the death penalty. In Maru Ram versus Union of India, Justice Faisal Ali says the mere fact that a long-term sentence, or for that matter a sentence of death, has not produced useful results cannot support the argument either for the abolition of death sentence or for reducing the sentence of to life imprisonment or to something else. I mean, this is absolutely clear. It's written in law, so your argument doesn't hold. But I wonder if there's any other argument. Sudha Ramalingam.
No. My argument, no, please listen. My argument is that, you see, there is always a gap between the moral, morality and the legality. And the society always moves to a higher level of morality. See, you can't, say that legality is final. No society can stay.
Then let me tell you about morality.
And you will have society has to go beyond.
No, let me quote
Law represents a stage of development. Law is not a finality. Law at this point of time, yes. But you mean to say that the terrorism will continue, you go on hanging people? I think terrorism should come to an end, not the, terrorists. Here's
the flip.
Promise me, or if you can guarantee that by hanging
Mahesh Jetmalani wants to counter you. What's actually, Professor? Professor, you read.
I'm a little befuddled. I'm a little befuddled by Professor Rajgopal's statement that terrorism must come to an end, but not terrorists, because I don't know how you can have terrorism without terrorists. So will you please explain that to us?
You need not hang anyone.
But there was society when there was no
terrorism.
Do away
with terrorism.
The Indian society did not have terrorism. No, please understand that did we have terrorism till 1970s and 80s? Was there
There's no argument there.
Of course we had terrorism in the 80s. Of course we had terrorism in the 80s. What about the Pan Am bombing? What about the Khalistan movement? That was all terrorism. We are facing terrorism right since the early 80s.
You have to go to the history.
Sir, today...
But what about 50s, 60s, 70s?
Sir, one second. Sir, you know, Professor Argopal, we have to be realistic. We have to live in the present. We have to live in the present.
There is no capital punishment.
No. We have to live in the present. And the problem is, and with great respect for the three other politicians on the panel, Maheshandra Singh Grewal and Aslam Ghoni and Manika Tagore, the problem is, Aslam Ghoni ji, that it is politicians like you who would wait for the slightest opportunity to create a debate, delay a decision, and then go crying that a decision has not been taken and hence let's ask for a commutation. It is to expose this bogey of human rights activists that the court has used such tough language today. Aslam Ghoni, this is what the court...
Yes.
You've read the judgment.
Arnab, whose fault is this? You see, this is you got to understand it, that existence of death sentence in a statute means that this is a very, very extraordinary power which state vests in itself.
Yes. So,
and this extraordinary power is defined in many judgments by the Supreme Court itself.
Yes.
And the Supreme Court has been talking about the brooding horror of a person being under the threat of the death sentence.
Sir, please don't. Sir, please.
You can see you have just
Aslam Ghoni, the constitutional...
Listen, your problem, Arnab, I'm sorry, you don't allow to speak.
No, I'll let you speak, but you're factually wrong.
I'm stating something with greater sense of responsibility. I'm not factually wrong. I am telling you that the judgment, one judgment you referred to, there are other tens of judgments of the Supreme Court where how you can say that anybody, if the president sits over deciding the mercy petition, how the convict can be held responsible for that?
So, quote the judgments.
It is not a question of
quote
yes,
the judgments.
You are right to the extent saying
quote the
that
judgments.
It's politics.
Aslam Ghoni, quote the judgments.
But in politics, you are playing with the soul.
No, quote the judgments, and I'm going to, Aslam Ghoni, quote the judgments, and for every judgment that you quote to say death penalty is illegal, I will right now on the news quote you two other judgments.
No, who says?
I will give you majority decisions.
So that death penalty is illegal. Why are you saying so? Who says that death penalty is illegal? So far, death penalty in India is not illegal.
No, you are saying legality and constitutionality of death sentence will be challenged many times. I am saying it's a challenge and a settled issue.
I am not on that.
It's a settled issue.
No. I don't know what you listen. I am just within the contours of the debate that here is a case where the mercy petition has remained pending for a period of about 8 years, and despite that, now when this petition is dismissed, a person comes to the court.
Yes.
Again, I agree with Mr. Tulsi that, okay, judges have got the overall wisdom. They have got overall wisdom to decide the things. But I can say that, yes, there are judgments of the Supreme Court itself, of the larger benches.
This is so ironical.
Said this brooding horror cannot be kept on the people.
Sir, this is so ironical. This is so ironical that you are trying to misinterpret what the court is saying. This is so ironical that you are trying to misinterpret what the court is saying.
I am not.
What the court is saying.
Please be responsible.
Sir, I am totally responsible.
I am not.
Sir, you are misinterpreting.
You are not. You are not.
The problem is
I am telling you, I am not misinterpreting.
You need to differentiate between the ratio of a judgment and the comments made during a judgment. The law as it stands today, it's a settled law that the capital punishment is a very valid, legal and a constitutional procedure followed by the Indian jurisprudence. So for you to say that it is illegal is a figment of your imagination. Kindly quote a law as per the IPC, CRPC or the Constitution as it stands amended if it is termed as illegal.
You cannot keep a man. If you have to hang a person, you set right your system. You got to set right your system.
Then in that case, we probably need to bring in amendments to sort out the issue of timing for clemency.
No, you see, the question is this. No, Mahesh Jetpalai
what are you talking, Mr. Mahesh Jetpalani?
No, that's not Mahesh Jetpalai. That's Rahul Narvekar.
You are on record. Your chief justices are on record that you have got less number of courts. You cannot dispose of the cases. Now, on that, whatever the mercy petitions
I think the court in its wisdom, has made observations. The court says, and I'm quoting now, before killing the victims, these terrorists, do not think even for a second about the parents, wives, children, and other near and dear ones of the victims. These are people from Professor Hargopal or Sudha Ramalingam are not talking. The families of those killed suffer the agony for their entire life. Listen to me, Sudha Ramalingam.
Please, that is not point in issue.
Listen to me, Mr. Ramalingam.
I think if I correctly understand, this is not point in issue. Point in issue is that if a mercy petition remains pending for such a long time, whether the court should again interfere or not.
No, I have one more
sentence. Point which I understand as a lawyer. I don't know what politics you have got in it, that I am not concerned.
I have no politics. I'm asking the question.
I am not concerned with your politics.
It is unfair of you to accuse me of having politics. My question is this, Sudha Ramalingam, the court says...
What else? It's politics. It's politics. I am watching for every... I am watching, in every case you can find that it's all politics, nothing else.
Please, 1 minute, sir.
Rightly that simple lady has said that politics has intervened. I have done...
Sir, I am not a politician. There are enough politicians on the program. Please, Sudha Ramalingam, the court says, it is paradoxical that the people who do not show any mercy and compassion for others plead mercy and project delay in the disposal of the petition as a ground for commutation of the sentence of death. Many others joined the bandwagon to espouse the causes of terrorists involved in gruesome killing and mass murder of innocent civilians and raise the bogey of human rights. This is what the Supreme Court has said today. It has demolished the argument of human rights groups.
Would you let me talk?
Yeah.
See, I concur with what Professor Hargopal said completely. We are a civilized society. We are progressing. We are a democratic country. We are also a signatory to the various UN conventions. We also belong to the United Nations Organization as a member, trying to even secure a seat in the Security Council. We have got to show the world that we are above all these petty politics, and we also have to show the world also that we are compassionate.
But we are not above the politics.
Do you think there is real victim justice? Kindly let me talk. There can be no justice with a concept of eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. What you will have to do is, it is very well established that there is no deterrence by killing anyone. What you will have to do is ensure that there is reformation as far as the convict is concerned, or as far as accused is concerned, and also there is real victim justice done. We are not here to propagate any terrorist activities. We always sympathize with anyone who is dead, including these people. So we do not want any bloodshed. We do not want anyone to die.
I can just imagine the United States of America trying to reform Osama bin Laden. That's exactly what she's trying to convey. That's exactly what you're trying to convey. Can you imagine United States of America arresting Osama bin Laden and trying to reform him? That's when you call acting tough, and that's how you control terrorism. Not by dealing with them with kid gloves. It's very easy for you to say it. Please ask someone who's lost a dear and dear one under terrorist attack.
I want KTS Tulsi, because he has to go. Before he goes, KTS Tulsi, I want you to respond to that argument put by the Shiv Sena member of parliament and head of their legal cell. Please respond. He says you cannot reform Osama bin Laden. America couldn't do that. We shouldn't dream of doing so either. Your response before I let you go, Mr. Tulsi.
The question is that if it was such a serious case, why did the government, why did the president take 8 years to decide the mercy petition of this gentleman?
So the problem is with the system, not with the law.
Why should I suffer for politics? If the government is responsible for the politics, how can a person's life be taken away for other people's faults? His life can't be taken away. His life can't be mortgaged.
Sir, he has been held guilty by not one court, by 3 courts. He's not being sent to the gallows for nothing.
No, but you
He's
can't
been held guilty. You can't say give him pardon because there's some fault in the system of justice dispensation.
According to the law of the Supreme Court, within 3 months the mercy petition required to be decided. If not 3 months, let it be 6 months. Let it be 1 year. Let it be 2 years. Can 8 years by any stretch of imagination?
So the problem is the politics.
Politics. How can I be?
Problem is the politics.
How can your or my life be held hostage to politics?
But there is politics, Mr. Tulsi. I know the Shiromani Akali Dal representative Maheshindra Singh Grewal will not like my saying it. But the fact is, Mr. Grewal, be it the Bhullar case or the Rajwana case, you, as in your party and your group, have repeatedly politicized the death penalty in India. Even today, Mr. Grewal, you show complete disregard for the law of the land by saying instead of going by legal and technical grounds, the sentiments of the community and humanity should have been taken into consideration. That is what PS Chandu Majra of your party is saying. You want to emotionally exploit cases like that of Bhullar and then derive political advantage out of it. Am I wrong, Mr. Grewal?
Hello, I think you are perfectly wrong here saying all this thing. In thinking the case of Mr. Devinder Singh Bhullar, I don't go into the merits or demerits of today's judgment. But I want to bring to your notice 3 important things which deserve to be considered. First, Mr. Bhullar was not active participant in the alleged occurrence. The allegations against Mr. Bhullar are that he supplied some material to Mr. Daya Singh Lahoria, who then exploded the bomb. While Mr. Lahoria has been acquitted by the court.
Are we discussing the merits of the judgment, or are we discussing whether the delay is justified? I mean, why are we sitting in judgment over the decision given by the apex court? The court, are you saying that the judgment of the apex court is flawed because of the facts on record?
I am coming to that. I am not here to condone what you are saying or to confirm what you are saying. My thing is that the allegations that he supplied something to Daya Singh Lahoria acquitted. If he has supplied at all anything to Daya Singh Lahoria, then why Daya Singh Lahoria has been acquitted? This is one ground. Now, second, coming to this thing, the basic law of the land is that nobody should be condemned unheard. The President of India, while decide, the President of India, the President of India, while deciding his mercy petition, has never given him opportunity of being heard before taking decision that his mercy petition is being rejected.
Sir, now, it's a due process.
Third point.
No. Where you are wrong, I'll have to. No, you are wrong. You are on wrong ground. Mahesh Jetpalani raised his hand. Mahesh Jetpalani is contradicting Mr. Grewal. Go ahead, Mahesh.
Let him
whenever he wants. In the celebrated case of Kehar Singh, which is the assassination of Mrs. Gandhi, one of the conspirators to assassinate Mrs. Gandhi, a similar plea was raised. I was one of the lawyers assisting my father for Kehar Singh's case. This argument was put forward that a convict for a death sentence should have a right to be heard by the president before his mercy petition is decided, and it has been rejected by all the 5 judges of that bench. So that point no longer exists. There's no right to be heard anymore. And Arnab, just one very important point. It is no doubt that delay in disposal of mercy petitions is dehumanizing for the convicts. But there are two things. There are two things. One is
Mr. Jetmalani, let's just listen me. You are interfering in my saying.
Yes.
Just listen me. After the hanging of Kher Singh, your respected father gave a press statement that hanging Kher Singh amounts to murder of judicial system. Is it not right? But then, if it was right, then what did he
said that?
My son,
he didn't say that. You're quite wrong since you've asked me this question. Let me answer. He said that the evidence.
He said that. Yes, I have cutting of the papers. You can check from your father. He said this thing on record.
He said
that it's a case of judicial murder.
The conviction of
listen to me.
Was a case of judicial murder. But once it was accepted, everybody accepted the decision in that case. Now let me just tell you one thing. The answer to the dehumanizing aspect of delay in disposing of is to put a time frame.
Mr. Jetmalani, listen to him. He's not taking our argument. No, Mr. Jetmalani, I allow him again because Mr. Grewal is not convinced with your argument. With great respect, Mr. Jetmalani, please listen to him. I'll come back to you. Right after that, let's keep the debate totally balanced. Mr. Grewal is not buying your argument. He quotes your father to say that there has been a change of position in this case. You clarify, but he's not arguing with that. He's not accepting that, I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Grewal, complete your argument.
See, the basic thing is, Shiromani Akali Dal has a faith in the system. We don't deny it. We are not for the killings of the people. But let me tell you that there is a difference between reality and perception.
Sir, I'm sorry.
The community today has a perception.
Sir, I'm sorry. I have to question you there. I have to question you there.
Just listen me.
Now Mr. Jetmalani has raised his hand.
Killed on the streets of on the streets of Delhi. None of the guilty has been even taken care of till date. And in one case, you are just pursuing it to a thing that which causes more problem than a solution. I tell you, there is a feeling, undercurrent, that on eve of the Khalsa birth, the community got this gift from the
Sir, don't communalize it. Don't communalize it. Don't politicize it. Don't communalize it. Don't politicize it, Mr. Grewal. You know, I'll tell you one thing. You are forcing me to say this, Mr. Grewal. 1 minute. Mr. Grewal, consider Mr. Grewal with great respect. Allow me, Mr. Grewal. Allow me, Mr. Grewal.
I tell you, you last... Just listen to me.
You listen to me, Mr. Grewal.
Last night, I have...
Listen to me, Mr.
Listen me, let me complete, then I have a...
I'm waiting for you to complete. Let me ask a question with your permission. My question to you is this, that consider the other politically volatile case of Balwant Singh Rajwana, who is accused of murdering Beyan Singh. Let us not forget, Mr. Grewal, that the Supreme Court itself said, I'm sorry to say directly to you, that the Rajwana clemency plea was a drama enacted by your government, by your chief minister. It's a drama enacted by you, they said.
No drama.
They said it, the court said it.
No drama. We suffered loss of about 100 Akali leaders for the peace of Punjab. We don't want that any incident which happens in Delhi again disturb the peace of Punjab. The Shiromani Akali
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by putting that argument? What do you mean? You're putting out a threat? You're putting out a threat?
No threat. Under the leadership of Sardar Prakash Singh Badal, Akali Dal fought for peace, communal harmony, and brotherhood amongst the communities. But unfortunately, the Congress government at 7 creates a situation for Punjab to create problems for Akali.
Sir,
I don't want to...
Now, Mr. Grewal, you've taken a lot of time. I go to Manik Tagore. Mahesh Jetmalani, you want to counter him, but after that, Manik Tagore hasn't spoken yet. Manik Tagore is a member of parliament of the Congress party. Mr. Tagore, my question to you is this, that the lines between politics and the law of the land when it comes to death penalty are blurred. And hence, cases like Afzal Guru are subject to long delays and untenable excuses which fell flat when Guru was finally executed. All of these arguments fell flat. So how can you say that politics and law are not mixed in India? Do you actually believe?
Why? Please, Arnab. Please.
No, Mr. Ghoni, let the Congress representative reply.
They stand separate only in the Constitution, not in actual use.
When a bench of Supreme Court stayed the execution of the...
Manik Tagore's turn, please. Manik Tagore, Member of Parliament of the Congress, is answering the question on politics and the law of the land.
Arnav, thank you. Thank you. One thing is that we need to accept the verdict of the court, and second very important thing is that doing politics with the verdict is not good. We are not doing good to the country.
Who's doing politics?
Because the way every politician is doing, that's the problem. The politicians are doing it. That should not be done, because when it's the lawmakers' work is to make a law, and the interpretation is by the
just would like to take you back to the Afzal Guru judgment. I would like to take you back to the clemency petition that was pending for years. We had a person who attacked the parliament, but you didn't prefer to decide his case. That's called politics. That's called politics interfering with the judicial system. The three lists.
Brother, let us.
Although as per the Constitution, we supposedly don't have any interference. But people like your party, parties like the Congress party, have totally misused the constitutional provision. Have totally misused the clemency provision to political interference.
Okay, Congress party's response.
I had the patience to listen you, and you should also have the patience to listen me. About the Afzal Guru, the decision has been taken, and what has happened, the history knows it, and you also knows it. Therefore, let us not go into a historical event. What I am saying is that when the justice systems make a decisions, let us not comment on it, and let us not do politics into it, and let us not put oil into the fire.
No, what
and
oil
the
into
regional
the fire?
parties are doing that emotional issues,
Mr. Manik Tagore,
which is going to,
Mr. Manik Tagore, nobody is putting oil to the fire. I would like to remind you that between December 18, 2002 and May 2012, there are 16 reminders on Afzal Guru, which were sent by your Congress government to your Congress state government. Am I right or wrong? Who is doing politics, Mr. Manik Tagore? Accept that there is politics.
No. What I am saying is there should not be politics. But
there has been politics.
It's easier said than done.
There has been politics.
There should not be politics.
No,
That's what I am saying is that legal system should take its own course.
Should not be an ideal world. There has been politics. You are accepting tonight on TV there has been politics.
No, we need to understand that there should not be politics into it, because it is a very different issue for a country of big like this size, where youngsters are having great voice in.
I have another question. No, I have another question, and here's an open challenge tonight to Aslam Ghoni, Mr. Grewal, and Mr. Manik Tagore, who are on the other side. Right? Open challenge here, right? Give me one case.
What is the open challenge? Please tell us what is the open challenge.
Thank you. Now you see,
tell me, do you disagree that there is no politics? Arnab, please kindly, do you disagree that there is no politics in these executions?
Of course there is. Your party has been doing politics over Muhammad Afzal.
I am out. I am out if you say there is no politics.
I am saying there is politics.
I am making you a judge tonight. I have always been telling you that don't judge things. I am making you a judge tonight. Tell me there is no politics in all these executions.
Mr. Aslam Ghoni, because you realized your argument is flawed, you are now trying to change your position. But I won't let you get away so easily.
No, please. I am telling you, I am making you judge. Arnab, I am making you judge.
I am no judge.
You tell me, is not there any politics in all these executions?
No, you take my challenge. Here's the question.
I have always been telling you don't judge the things. I am telling you tonight that you be the judge and tell.
Thank you for the offer. I am not qualified in law to even be a lawyer, leave alone a judge. Mahesh Jetmalani wants to come in at this stage. I allow Mahesh Jetmalani before I put my challenge in. Mahesh Jetmalani first. Yes, Mr. Jetmalani.
No. Arnab, just two very quick points. Salute the Supreme Court that it carved out an exception. It said delay does dehumanize the convict. It does. And it said that it can still be a factor to be taken into consideration, except in the case of terrorists. The Supreme Court implicitly recognized that in the case of terrorist convicts, there is this strong pressure, not only on moral grounds have they forfeited their rights to claim delay and therefore commutation, but there is the politics, and therefore the Supreme Court has risen above politics and said in the case of terrorists, because there is this kind of politics, they will not be allowed to raise this delay. What we should all be doing now is taking a cue from the Supreme Court. Instead of putting the burden on the Supreme Court every time a politician left out the country, what we should be doing, is saying that there must be a time limit. There's a self-imposed, the Supreme Court in Shesing's case said there should be a self-imposed time limit by authorities for mercy petitions of 3 months. We should make sure as citizens that time limit is scrupulously adhered to. It becomes the norm in this country.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mahesh Jetmalani. It all sounds very good, doesn't it? This whole self-proclaimed tough stand on terror that you always take on television appears to be in 100% contradiction, Mr. Jetmalani, with that of your ally, the Shiromani Akali Dal. When you don't spare the Congress party or the so-called vote bank politics. You are a BJP person.
I'm not defending the Shiromani Akali Dal.
No, but
I am disagreeing with them openly on television tonight.
I am telling you openly on television tonight. You don't spare the Congress for their so-called vote bank politics. In the Afzal Guru case, call a spade in the case of the Shiromani Akali Dal and their position on Bhullar and Rajuana.
Akali Dal either. Where did you hear that? You are hearing things, Arnab.
I am not hearing things. I know that you've been soft on the Rajuana issue.
I am not defending the Shiromani Akali Dal. Why are you creating a strong argument just to make this debate a little more contentious?
No, I don't.
Trying to rise above politics. You are getting into politics.
Really? Mr. Jetmalani, for all the criticism of the UPA government, will you concede tonight?
Yes.
Will you concede? Will you concede? Will you
as much as some of the panelists.
Will you concede tonight? All right, to throw pot shots at me, will you concede tonight? Not a single decision was taken on mercy petitions during your NDA tenure. Have you not been asked that question in the floor of Parliament by the Home Minister, Mr. Chidambaram, when he was Home Minister?
Yes, and Arnab, if you know all this and still you don't believe that this is all politics. When you say
what I'm saying is, you are right.
This is not all
Any delay by the NDA government in disposing of mercy petitions should be condemned. What more do you want?
Should be condemned. I think that's extremely soft.
Signal. Very wonderful signal you are sending to the rest of the world. That yes, you have got elections in front of you.
What more do you want me to say? You give me the words, you write my script, Arnab.
I am not interested in writing the script. I want the politicians to be honest tonight to agree that if you see the discourse among political parties in India on the death penalty, you will see it centers around cases like Afzal, Bhullar, Rajuana and Rajiv Gandhi's assassins. You do not hear any political party in India talking about Ramji Chauhan or Jafar Ali. This goes on to prove that you are not guided by a principled position against the death penalty, but purely by political considerations.
There is a judgment, and this is what precisely I wanted to convey to you.
Sudha Ramalingam wants to come in. Sudha Ramalingam.
I wanted to convey to the people.
The very reason why we say there should be no death penalty is your own logic. It's actually the politics plays. There's so many other things other than law. So the death penalty should not be given to anyone because we know that
I would just like to correct you a little earlier.
It's not merely the accused guilt. It is much more than what we
think. I need to correct you on your facts with regards to the NDA tenure. I must tell you that during the NDA tenure, while the presidency of President APJ Abdul Kalam, there were 4 clemency petitions that were allowed. So your argument that not a single one was decided does not hold good. And number 2, coming to the... Let the lady complete. Okay.
Arnab, when you expose anything, what happens? Within 2 days you want a result. But when there is a mercy petition, it takes 8 years and more than a decade or so also. Do you mean to say that's not delay? What is this? Your own logic. What you say, decides logic, you know. So there should be no death penalty because there's so much of politics in it.
Miss Ramalingam, my logic is consistent. My logic is consistent.
There's no justice done by sending anyone to gallows. There's no victim justice also. The victim does not result. Just because you kill the person, do you mean to say the persons who are killed will come back alive?
No. Will the people who have died come back alive? Exactly, they won't. But the suffering of the families must be remembered.
With your logic.
Yeah, the suffering of the family is not mitigated by death. Suffering of the family would be mitigated by giving them proper proper compensation, proper
Compensation.
counseling, proper everything.
Compensation,
Yeah,
Professor Hargopal.
definitely.
Okay, 2 minutes on the debate, Sudha Ramalingam. Why are you getting worked up? I want to know which political party. I want to know which political party in Uttar Pradesh is saying that Jafar Ali of Etawah district who killed his wife and 5 children over a family dispute in 2002. How many political parties are jumping up and down for Jafar Ali? They are not.
I'm telling you,
because it can be politically exploited.
Law is not also intermingled with politics. Let's not politicize everything. Let's also see that even law is not really rendering of justice.
Professor Hargopal, my question
Let's render justice.
Professor Hargopal.
Arnab, 1 minute for me.
Yes, Mr. Grewal.
Arnab.
Yes, Mr. Grewal.
1 minute for me.
Yeah.
You criticize the politicalization.
Yes.
I don't mind whatever you say.
Yeah.
Just listen me for 1 minute.
Yeah, I'm listening.
The Akalis during the disturbed period lost miserably. They lost their about 30, 40 candidates in the election. They were the sufferers. They are now looking after a peaceful Punjab. But we don't want that one single event should
again you're politicizing.
Cause any problem.
Again you're politicizing.
No, not politicizing. No.
Sir, this sounds like a threat, I'm sorry.
One question,
No, capital punishment is not deterrence.
Just answer my one question.
Yeah.
What the media or what the government at center has done to punish the killers of thousands of Sikhs in 1984? What have you done? Today, people.
So we fight every day. Please don't shoot the media every day for everything. I'm sorry, Mr. Grewal. Mr. Grewal, it is.
What you are? No. I tell you. I'm happy that in certain important cases, Supreme Court has taken suo motu. We appreciate that the court is performing its duties. But till date, nobody on this earth has taken either suo motu nor government has any. I don't blame Congress. Just for argument's sake, just give me any answer from your studio, you as an umpire and a seasoned journalist, that till date, I don't say that Congress have killed the Akalis, the Sikhs. I say that thousands of the Sikhs were killed. Who are responsible?
Mr. Grewal.
The government of the time is to answer that.
Mr. Grewal, I'm sorry.
The community is hurt.
Mr. Grewal, I'm sorry. I will not answer that question because I'm not being interviewed.
Just my last, my one important question. On a basic law is that a person who is of insane mind, not has a sense of discretion and has lost balance of mind. The Dr. Desai who is treating Mr. Bhullar has on record said that the gentleman doesn't know what is happening.
So that's very easy to say. That's very easy to say. That's very easy to say, Mr. Grewal, that you carry out a terrorist. No, this argument. No, Mr. I want to know, Mr. How many people on the panel accept this argument? 1 second. 1 second. How many people accept the argument tomorrow terrorist carries out a blast? Mr. Grewal, let me speak. Mr. Grewal, let me speak. Let me conduct the program.
Just allow me to complete my thing. I don't say. I say that openly. I openly say that let the panel of the doctors panel should examine him and decide an independent panel.
Yeah.
That may not include any Sikh member on that panel.
Yeah.
And say if it is has a sense of discretion. And he's in a good state of health. Let the law take
Mr. Grewal, we've heard you. Can we just respond? Mr. Grewal, I think we are sitting in judgment over the judgment of the Supreme Court. All these facts have been considered by the court, not by a single court, by 3 courts. So I don't think we have some special wisdom which these courts didn't have. So let's not debate over that. Let's debate about the fact whether the delay is a good enough reason for condoning the death penalty. That's what we are here for.
My last question to to Professor Hargopal. 1 minute, Professor Hargopal. My question is to you, Professor Hargopal. Professor Hargopal, there are some people who believe that there has been a cozy relationship between political parties and human rights activists. The political parties drum up a situation, they create a delay. The human rights parties, human rights groups come in after 5, 6, 7, 8 years and say there has been a delay. So there is a sort of unstated relationship of convenience between political parties and human rights groups, especially in the cases of terrorists. Now, after today's judgment, do you believe? Do you believe that understanding will be broken forever?
No, I think what all that I can say is that I think the way you have carried this debate and the way the way you expressed your opinions, I think is something that does lot of damage, more damage than politics of this country.
Would you answer my question, sir? Would you answer my question, Mr. Hargopal?
It's not question of answering.
Mr. Hargopal,
I am asking you a question.
Answer the question.
The way that a debate should be carried on
Mr.
a channel
Mr.
like
Hargopal,
this,
if I were to
express your opinions and the rest of them keep quiet.
Mr. Hargopal,
I think it is not correct on your part
you see,
to just damage the public discourse.
Mr. Hargopal, it may be uncomfortable for you to accept what the Supreme Court has said today. I am quoting the Supreme Court verdict. Quote me a part of the Supreme Court verdict which has been quoted wrong. Quote one part right now.
No, but we are debating on certain
quote one part which is quote one factual inaccuracy which has been presented. Right now.
No, but what I am saying, if what Supreme Court has said is final, why are we debating? What is that we are debating then?
What we are debating is
the Supreme Court judgment.
Mr. Hargopal, point one factual inaccuracy.
On the Supreme Court judgment.
Point one factual inaccuracy. You have made such a sweeping observation. Why? Point one factual inaccuracy.
No, you make a lot of sweeping observations.
No, one judgment I quoted. One judgment. No, I am telling you tonight, quote one judgment I quoted. Quote one fact which I put out. Point out one factual inaccuracy and I will concede your point. Point one.
No, it's not that.
No, then don't make a sweeping observation if you don't have the facts to back it up.
No, it's not just making sweeping judgment. Please try to understand. We in human rights, you say human rights bogey. I mean,
this is the language of the court. Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. You have not read the. Professor Hargopal, you should have read the court judgment before coming. Professor Hargopal.
We are fighting for certain standards
Professor Hargopal,
and values in life.
Professor Hargopal, this word, the bogey of human rights, is part of the judgment. Point 40. You've not read it apparently.
No, but you have used it earlier.
Have you read it?
Supreme Court used it several times. So now what I am saying is that please carry the debate in a democratic way so that the standards in the society can be raised.
My first question was to you.
Controversies of this kind, which is just
Professor Hargopal,
I don't think it serves any purpose.
Professor Hargopal, you may want the Supreme Court to take a different point of view, but this is what the Supreme Court said. I'll send you a copy of the judgment right after this. I'll send it to you, but there's no point doing a personal attack. The question was asked to you, do you think it changes the contours of the debate? I'm putting that question to you again. Has the contours of the death penalty debate changed?
Yes, it will. It will change. It will change, and those who are working for human rights, they will stand by their own standards. Whether you critique us or not, we stand for certain values, universal values, and we are saying that Indian society has to go beyond the present context, and we can't be stuck with a death sentence and keep on hanging people. We have to go to roots of the problem. And root of the problem lies somewhere else, not in the terrorists. Terrorism has a deeper root than terrorists.
In this case, I know that, but in this case, Professor Hargopal, where you have
of the media to go to the roots of the problem.
Professor Hargopal, don't keep Professor Hargopal, don't keep slamming the media all the time. The fact is the Supreme Court in this case, it's very fashionable to do. The Supreme Court in this case has held that the gravity and magnitude of the crime cannot be divorced while taking the delay into consideration. You as an eminent legal expert should know the implications of that. I'll thank you for joining me on the Newshour Debate tonight. There's a clear implication of that, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me on debate number 1 on the Newshour tonight.